Hey guys, welcome back to Viper's World. I was just hanging out over here at the new terrain. This is what we had worked on last episode, right? The little lilac field and the bridge and the tree, and whew, I am just like super inspired to do some terraforming and yeah, just kind of do some more stuff like this along the river's edge. But that is gonna have to wait because that's not the focus of today's episode. You see, today is a very special episode for a couple of reasons. One, it's episode 30, which is a big milestone for the world. But two, I have a very special build. We're going to be building it right here where all these copper trapdoors are. That special build, as you may have seen in the thumbnail or the title, is a tea shop. Now, why are we building a tea shop, you may ask? Well, why does anybody build a tea shop? To celebrate their grandmother's 90th birthday, of course. Yeah, so I want to build right here a tea shop for my gram turning 90 because I have a lot of memories. As a child, she would take my sister and I to go to tea every year around the holidays, and it's a really fond memory of mine. And I figured what a special way to, kind of build something for her in my world and, give everything a little bit of lore, but some special meaning as well. So a little more on that later, but without farther ado, I think we should go ahead and get building on this. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the time lapse. And here is the finished build. Well, at least the outside of it. Nothing on the signs yet, right? I want to have some of these signs like kind of scattered there. Like we have the Happy Guest sign here behind Jasper. Gosh, sorry, can't speak today. Yeah, I'll show you guys this side as well. It does already look a lot cooler with like a building here. Like you can kind of start to see the city streets being laid out a little bit more clearly. But yeah, here it is over here. Don't worry too much about the sides. Those are mostly going to be covered up by other builds on the sides of them, so they look pretty plain right now. But yeah, I wanted to use a lot of different yellow blocks because yellow is my grandmother's favorite color. So I figured, okay, let's see what we can get creative. I guess kind of learn Minecraft. There's not a whole lot of like at least this shade of yellow. Like we do have more of the like end stone sand, kind of like faded white yellow, but like this more saturated version, not too much. I guess bamboo would have been a good option, but I wanted something a little more vibrant, almost like the honeycomb. Also, I feel like honey in tea, it's kind of fitting for a tea shop to have honey and honeycomb, and then lots of plants and nature kind of scattered around as well. On the other side, kind of tying it with the honey, we got some candles, maybe some storage and whatnot, but inside there's not much going on. So I think we need to go ahead and fix that now. So brief little backstory on this build and why I wanted to do this for my grandmother is the other day we were talking, and growing up she always liked Minecraft, and she brought up the time when I was little and she saw me playing it and asked if I would build her a house there. Because, she liked that it was very creative, and this was always somebody who was very, creative herself. So I, said, yeah, of course, sure, no problem. So I went ahead and built the house. But it got me thinking when she brought up that story. I didn't know what to build in this section of the city. And it just kind of hit me. Like anytime she'd see me playing, like she'd want to know about the builds or want to say like, hey, what's this? What is that? Or can you build this? Or what about that? And was always somebody who sparked, my creative interest or my inspiration. Like for those of you who don't know, I'm also a musician. I've been playing guitar for most of my life, and she was the one who bought me my first guitar and inspired me to like find my passion for music. So it all just kind of clicked to me at once that I was like, you know what, this needs to be something that I put in the city for her. And then, as a nice way to say, hey, you remember that game that you think I haven't played in a while, but I play way too much. Check it out here. I made this for you. So yeah, I just thought it'd be a nice moment, and I didn't know what to put in the world here. And I think this feels very perfect and fitting. And I'm looking forward to adding more special memories into my world and builds that have not only lore in the game, but maybe outside of it too. But on to the interior itself. This thing is kind of crazy. I just kind of did this off the top of my head, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm leaning towards bad, but honestly, I do kind of like it. I went with the checkerboard floor patterns, and then this nice big stripe of amethyst down the center, because honestly, I don't ever really use amethyst, so I don't know. I thought it might be nice to add it in here, kind of like a little divider. And then kind of copied a similar, but maybe a little simpler pattern on the ceiling there, but something to give it a little variety, almost looking like support beams. Maybe even I could set these back as slabs, but no, you know what? I like the way it is because this is already pretty busy in here. But before we touch on the walls and whatever the heck is going on there, I just added in a couple of chairs. I like to have these nice big back chairs because it feels like a little fancier. And after all, if you are going to grab like tea and stuff here, then yeah, it makes sense. And I kind of alternated, keeping it very busy with the colors, very red, very blue. We do have like some candles and some cups and whatnot at this place. And I tried to make it feel like more cozy aesthetic kind of vibes, like very inviting, not like a tavern, but almost like that's kind of where we get into the clutter on the wall. Maybe there are a lot of pictures or paintings of like family and friends and stuff. And then my idea would be that these signs are from like people who have visited from other parts of this world. Maybe like they sign their name on here, like you can leave your story. Or like on this side, I have just some like random items and objects that were totally not just things in my inventory at the time, but in the item frames that could be like, oh, this was something special to somebody, so they left it behind as a memento or something like that. Or maybe like somebody that you had lost, so you left like, I don't know, this was their favorite ladder, or we could use our imagination to make it something else. But that's kind of what everything is doing on the wall. Like instead of making it over the top fancy, which I don't think like this build doesn't necessarily scream fancy, but instead I figured this would be more like a cozy one, like everybody here kind of knows each other, or like if you show up here and you're a stranger, they want to get to know you and, collect your items or objects or whatever, or leave behind a bit of your story to make it part of this building's. And then just for functionality, brewing stand, because, well, you would get drinks here, and then just like a little crafting bench. So if I'm out in the city and I need to craft real quick, I can just walk in, craft, and yeah. As for upstairs, nothing really here, just spawn proofing it. I think maybe when we have a build next door to this, we can like knock down the wall and maybe make this like a part of an apartment or something. I thought about making it a kitchen or doing like a kitchen down here, but I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. Maybe one day we'll do that, but for today, I think that's where we're going to leave the downstairs. Oh, and gotta come up with something on these signs. I might ask you guys for help, or if something comes to me here in the next few minutes, maybe I'll circle back to that. But yeah, that's pretty much the build for now. Earlier in the episode, however, I mentioned our lovely new foliage and everything around the bridge and the rocks, and I just think that looks so very nice. And it got me thinking that this area over here by the Midtown, or I guess this is Lower Midtown rather, is looking a little weak. It's looking a little empty. I think maybe if we just add in some similar foliage to that, maybe even we add in some like cattails and stuff. I do have plans to terraform like the whole lake bed here, but I think maybe if we could do like a little bit on the edge and then a little bit in here, I think that is gonna look so much better than it does now. And then I don't know, maybe if I'm feeling inspired, we're gonna come all the way in here, but at least this little section along the river, just so when I'm over here, it doesn't look so plain. You know, it kind of takes away from it. Don't mind this, we'll get rid of this one day. But if we're looking solely here, it does kind of take away from the focus, right? So something simple, and I think will be golden. And I think that looks pretty awesome. It's really pretty over here from the bridge actually at nighttime. This is awesome view, but let's go ahead and sleep and I will show it to you guys in the daytime. Okay, so here it is up close at daytime, and I think it looks pretty awesome. I mean, the whole point of this is to like, basically it's not supposed to be blank, right? It's not supposed to distract you from anything that's going on here, right? It's just kind of foliage. Like if you come around the corner here, yes, there's some ambience. I hid some firefly bushes under here, so I like that, right? We get a little bit of light from the fireflies and everything, but our eyes are kind of drawn to, you know, you come around the corner, you're either seeing the windmill, or if you're looking over here at the painted forest, you're drawn to that, but you're not taken, like, your view's not taken away basically by just empty moss and nothing else like we have up here. But this is a problem for another day. I think I want to put some like market stalls or something here and get like really more in depth with that terraforming. But yeah, nice and simple. Just put some like hedges, little bits of grass and like leaf litter. And then I do really like adding in these dried bushes as well. As you guys can probably tell over here, it's supposed to be maybe like a little more dead, right? Maybe some of these more dead bushes, as we kind of have a little bit of that over there on the shore as well. But with that, you guys, we are all out of time for today. That is officially a wrap. I know it was a little different. This time is a little shorter, maybe a little more, I don't know, I guess sentimental, a little more personal. So thanks for sticking around if you did, and if you enjoyed that. Thanks for listening. I kind of, felt a little weird recording some parts of this, but this is an episode I really wanted to make, and it's definitely special to me, and I'm going to look back on it fondly. So if you enjoyed it, maybe leave a like, subscribe. If you want to wish Grandma happy birthday, feel free to do that too. I think at the time of this releasing, it's going to be like a day or two before her birthday. So yeah, any comments of that variety are welcome. But most importantly, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.